What's up, Taiwan? I'm Ethan Liu with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Defense officials say there has been a surge in Chinese military activity around Taiwan, with Beijing conducting large military exercises for 2 straight days. The Defense Ministry has accused China of doing all it can to build up its military while creating an illusion of dialogue. But China insists its actions are legitimate. Rick Lauer reports.
An unwelcome vessel enters Taiwanese waters, off Jinmen Islands. One of 4 Chinese Coast Guard ships spotted in just 1 day.
密进入金门禁限制水域，严重破坏区域和平稳定，影响海上交通秩序及航行安全，请立即转向驶离。
After a couple of hours, the Chinese vessels complied, but the government in Beijing maintains that these waters and the rest of Taiwan are part of its sovereign territory. And they've been making intrusions like this one more frequently. 32 Chinese military planes entered Taiwan's air identification zone in 24 hours. This just days after Beijing launched an intercontinental ballistic missile that passed south of Taiwan.
因应中共全面提升武力、我战略预警时间大幅缩短等威胁，国军会持续的陆力建军备战，增强不对称的嚇阻战力，并且深化官兵的爱国信念，以建构可视的军事力量以及防卫韧性，来捍卫国家主权以及百姓安全。
The self-ruled island nations' leaders say that the increasing frequency of their neighbours' incursions threatens not just Taiwan, but also regional stability. But China is not backing down.
解放军为台岛周边海空域组织演训活动正当合理，我们将持续加强练兵备战，常态组织有关军事行动。
Taiwan's defense minister warns that exercises like these could be cover for a surprise attack, and that it is becoming harder to tell what is behind the rise in Chinese military activity.
所以它其实就是在增加一些政治上的压力。那这个战术我们看到很多，也就是北京它想要达到政治目标，但是不要去触动战争的情况。
It's less than a week before China's National Day, often a time it flexes its military might and reiterates its goal of bringing Taiwan under its control. An outcome Taiwanese leaders say they're determined to thwart, ready to stand in defence of Taiwan's sovereignty and its people. James Lin and Rick Lauert for TaiwanPlus.
Amid ever-present threats of conflict with China and of natural disasters, President Lai Ching-te hosted the first meeting of a committee made up of civic leaders and defense officials to better prepare for any future crisis. Chris Gorin reports.
The country needs to prepare for a crisis. That was the message from President Lai Ching-te as he convened a new committee on civil defense. The committee includes representatives from civil society, security, and religious groups, coming together to discuss how they might work with the government during times of crisis.
中央到地方政府要进行全方位的验证和演练，也要扩大跟民间团体和社会力量连结，彼此携手合作，以系统性、专业性方式找出问题，拟定对策，落实执行。
The hope is that the country will be able to handle not only the medical and social demands of a crisis, but also maintain its critical infrastructure, including energy, communication, and financial networks. The government is planning at least 3 exercises over the next year.
2月的时候能够进行一次桌上兵推，明年3月希望能够在某一个县市进行一个地方的小规模演练，6、7月我们希望能够结合汉光演习，进行一个比较全面性的前导性的演练。
Such drills wouldn't be a first in Taiwan. Both government and civil groups have conducted civil defense drills in the past. The meeting came on the same day that the Defense Ministry said it detected Chinese military joint combat readiness patrols around Taiwan, and days after a major Chinese missile test. The country has also been hit with natural disasters such as earthquakes and typhoons this year. The government's focus on drills may have its limits, however.
开完会之后，能不能落实到政策面来讲，其实它的效果很有限。有些演习或演练，它没有办法拟真。譬如说， 发电厂爆炸。
Whatever its effect on policy, it seems President Lai is at least trying to draw more attention to the need for preparation across the country, as the natural and man-made risks to Taiwan don't appear to be going away anytime soon. Devin Tsai and Chris Gorin for TaiwanPlus.
For more on the outcomes of President Lai's civil defense meeting, Reese Air spoke to Enoch Wu, the founder of Forward Alliance, a national security and civil defense think tank.
So, Enoch, you were there yesterday with President Lai and the rest of the committee. Can you tell us, were there any kind of concrete outcomes from this first meeting?
Emerging national security challenges will have to require new approaches to risk management, and that has to include whole-of-government coordination, and that's both vertical and horizontal, as well as a whole-of-society coalition. So as a concrete next step, working groups have been formed, and they will meet monthly to begin asking the tough questions and to involve more members of society, including industry. One of the responsibilities of each committee member, the way I see it, is to leverage their respective expertise and their professional networks to help the administration check for blind spots. And it's also going to be our job to help the government approach public-private partnership in a way that ensures success. And that means with a focus on collaboration, on communication, and on information sharing. Because whether you're a government agency or a private enterprise or a civil society organization, we all share the same risks.
So you were there representing Forward Alliance, a civil defense think tank. What kind of role does Forward Alliance play in civil defense and disaster preparedness?
Our mission is to work with established grassroots organizations to share the emergency response knowledge, the skills, and the resources so that they can continue helping their communities in times of need. Our job is to empower the amazing community leaders and organizers and activists that are already committed to service on a daily basis, and that is our role.
And what risks is Taiwan facing that the country feels the need to put so many resources into disaster preparedness?
Typhoons and earthquakes are unfortunately part of our geographic DNA, if you will. Second, we face a volatile and oppressive neighbor in the Chinese Communist Party. And third, we must also deal with the effects of extreme weather and climate change, just like everyone else. So putting all that together, we face a multitude and variety of risks. And that is why enhancing resilience is so important.
Why might it be in the international community's interest to help Taiwan stay safe and stay free and open?
We share many of the same risks, and we want each other to do well. And doing well means to be safe, safe from harm, safe from oppression, safe from coercion. And it means to be free, free to choose, free to live, and free to chart our own path. And so facing these common challenges, I think when each one of us is safe and free to thrive, we are all better off.
That was Enoch Wu, founder of Forward Alliance. Taiwan this week carried out a second sea trial of a domestically developed underwater drone called the Huilong. The trial hit a setback when 3 people riding with the drone accidentally fell into the sea and had to be rescued. No one was seriously hurt, and the trial continued the following day. The government's Weapons Development Agency is developing the unmanned submarine together with the local shipbuilder. Taiwan's Premier Zhou Rongtai has met with the head of the legislature, Han Kuo-yu, to try to break an impasse over next year's budget. The meeting across party lines comes after opposition lawmakers voted down the cabinet spending proposal. Louise Watt reports.
This is the second time opposition lawmakers have kicked back the budget to the cabinet for reworking. If it doesn't get approved, the government would still have money to function next year, but new policies and projects would not be funded. That would mean no salary increases for teachers, civil servants or military personnel, and it could affect the government's plan to build its own submarines to help it resist a Chinese invasion. Opposition lawmakers are blocking the budget largely on procedural grounds. They say funds that should be in there are not. But some analysts also see party politics at work, with the opposition questioning the $3 billion the government is pouring into the state-owned and loss-making energy company. Such support is not a new thing. Past governments have also supported that kind of policy. The budget impasse is another example of the difficulties facing President Lai Ching-te's government, which has to get its policies past an opposition-dominated legislature. Joseph Wu and Louise Watt in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Former Taipei mayor and one-time presidential hopeful Ko Wen-je has been hit with fresh allegations of corruption involving a shopping mall project. A city councilor claims Ko personally pushed the project through, skipping over the proper channels. Zhang Mentres reports.
Former Taipei Mayor Ko Wen-je has already been questioned 4 times over corruption allegations from his time in office. But there are yet more questions for investigators to ask, especially after a new accusation from a city council member. Ko has been arrested twice since the end of August. Prosecutors believe while he was still mayor, he may have done a corrupt deal that helped a shopping mall in the city make big profits. What might have been a local scandal is national news, because Ko's the founder and central figure of one of Taiwan's big 3 political parties, the Taiwan People's Party. Ko's downfall could bring the rest of the party crashing down. Those hoping to vindicate Ko have more bad news, though. City Councilor You Shu-hui of the rival Kuomintang has dug up records she says show Ko personally pushing the project to dramatically expand the mall's floor space through, skipping over the proper channels.
参加这一场会议的都发局的同仁，那他的解读是说，就是当时柯市长应该是就是要求说，直接做成560，然后不用经过都委会所以用行政处分的方式上网公告。
And some from Ko's other rival, the ruling Democratic Progressive Party, have taken up this accusation too.
在的都显示柯文哲在整个过程里面其实是知悉的，而且柯文哲甚至在内签里面其实是有签名的哦。然后现在摆烂，说自己完全不晓得，我觉得这真的是说不过去哦。
But Ko's backers say these rivals are just trying to shield Ko's predecessor as mayor for his possible involvement with the mall.
根据专家意见，上网公告究竟哪里做错了？监察委员也是在102年跟104年2次对郝市府提出纠正报告。游淑慧议员现在只是在替郝龙斌转移焦点，卸责罢了。
Whatever motive may be behind it, this fresh accusation adds fuel to a scandal that may upset the balance of power in national politics. Klein Wang and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
This year's winners of Taiwan's Tang Prize have received their awards at a ceremony in Taipei. Held every 2 years, the Tang Prize recognizes exceptional researchers around the world. Previous winners include primatologist Jane Goodall and the scientists behind the mRNA COVID-19 vaccine. The Tang Prize has 4 categories: sustainable development, biopharmaceutical science, sinology, and rule of law, categories the organizers say are critical to humanity. One of the winners, Omer Yagi, was recognized for developing a way to harvest water from desert air.
I want to emphasize the importance of giving back and inspiring the next generation. Our world needs individuals who are willing to start, to experiment, and to discover, even when conditions aren't perfect.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website and follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Before we go, we're traveling to Kyoto for a sneak peek at Nintendo's new museum, which will open to the public on October 2nd. I'm Ethan Liu. Take care, and I'll see you next time.
I'm Leslie Liao in Paris, France, and you're watching Taiwan Plus News, a voice of freedom in Asia.